Greetings all, hope you had a great weekend. We're going to just get started with our third installment on my installing Void Linux video series. So far we've gotten Void Linux as a base installed, we have gotten DWM installed and the simple terminal installed, and now today we are going to do some patching on DWM and just kind of go through a little bit of building DWM how we like it. So let's just go ahead and get into it, shall we? We're going to hit Mod Shift V, open up my virtual machine launcher, select Void. Now again, I am doing this in a virtual machine. You can be doing it on hardware, not at all, on a virtual machine, whatever. You could just be following along to just kind of see what's going on. But let's log in and enter our super secret password, and then we are going to type start X because we have our XinitRC set up. Let's go ahead and go full screen. We're going to launch a terminal and we're going to do zoom in, so we'll do Control Shift page up in ST does the zoom in, and we are going to do an X-render, and we're going to do -S 1920 by 1080 to get full screen, and then we will zoom in a little bit more, and that's what we're going to start with. So for right now, what we're going to do is we are going to start into some patching. Now the way I usually do patching is I like to start with the patches that are the biggest amount of changes. I like to go through the list of patches, see what I'm actually going to want and what I'm actually going to need, because I highly recommend you don't do too much patching. I mean, you can get really carried away with DWM and the patching. And you know, if you're willing to put in the work and effort, you can usually get it to work. There are some things that just don't seem to want to work together, you know, and then the more patches you install, the more difficult it gets to get compilation without errors, and then you got to go back and manually change things and everything. So just beware, the more patches you do, the more headache it becomes. But we're just going to go ahead and start with a few for today to get things going, and yeah, just kind of show you how to do it. So what we need to do is we need to cd into our .config and hit enter, and if we do an ls in here, we've only got the one directory. That's the suckless directory. Actually, we might have it hidden. Let's do ls-a. Nope, just suckless. So now we're going to cd into suckless, and then we're going to do an ls there, and you can see we've got DWM 6.4 and ST 0.9. So let's go ahead and we're going to do this cheat way. We're going to launch another terminal, and we're going to say Firefox, hit enter. We're going to move that to workspace number 2, and then Firefox opens on workspace number 9, so we're going to go there. And that's by default on DWM. Firefox will open on workspace number 9. You'll have to go into the config and change that if you don't like it, but that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and go to suckless.org. We're going to hit enter. We're going to click on the DWM tab, and we are going to click on patches. Now, I had somebody request the systray patch be installed, and so we're going to go ahead and download the systray patch. So we need to scroll all the way down until we get to the S's, and there's the systray patch. So what we need to do is we need to click on that, and these are all the different patches, and you can tell there's from 6.0, there's from 6.1, 0.2, 0.3. We're on 6.4. If you look up here in the corner, DWM 6.4. So we want this diff. So if we just click on it, it's going to open up and it's going to show us all the changes. And if we scroll down, you can see this is a rather large patch. There's a lot of changes going on in this patch, so this is going to be one of the first ones I want to do. In fact, it's going to be the first one I want to do. So first things first, what we need to do is back out of here. We need to right click on it, and we need to click Save Link As. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that link and we're going to put it in our suckless directory. So we're going to go to .config and suckless, and then we are going to save it there. So we've got that patch there, and I'm actually going to move that again down into my DWM directory, but for now we're just going to save it there. So we're going to get that one done, but there's one other thing I want to do. He said he was having issues doing the systray and getting it working with SL status, I believe. So what we need to do is we need to go over here to Tools. We're going to click on Tools, and down here you can see we have SL status. Now this is one of the DWM, or one of the bars that is able to be used with DWM. I personally usually use DWM blocks, but we'll go ahead and use SL status this time, just because that's the issue that the gentleman was having. So what we're going to do is we are going to click on SL status, And this git clone right here, I'd already clicked on it obviously, this git clone right here is what we need to copy. So we are going to copy the git clone, so we're going to highlight it, and we're going to copy, and then we're going to go back to workspace 1, and we're already in our suckless directory, so we are going to now paste that git clone command right there, and we're going to hit enter. Now it's going to go ahead and clone into SL status. It's going to get it in there, and we're going to do an ls, and you can see now we have SL status and we have our systray patch. So what I want to do right now is I want to move DWM systray into home.config suckless DWM 6.4 and hit enter. And now if I do an ls, you can see that's no longer there. If I cd into DWM-6.4 and hit enter and I do an ls, you can see we've got that DWM systray patch right here now. So now we've got everything where we need it to be. I am going to do a cd ... and we're going to back out of there into our suckless directory. I'm going to cd into SL status and hit enter. And then I am going to do a sudo make clean install and hit enter, and we're going to do our super secret password. It's going to go ahead and build SL status for us. And so now if I do mod shift Q, it's going to close out of DWM, and I'm going to do a start X, and I'm going to hit enter, and I know I did something wrong here, so we're going to go ahead and launch our terminal again. We're going to zoom in. I forgot one step, and we're going to cd, or actually we're going to vim into our .xinit rc, and we're going to hit enter. Now I've got this execute user local bin DWM in here. What I need to do is I have to put this before the execute line, because if I do it after the execute line, it won't read it. Once it reads the execute line from your xinit rc, that's that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put SL status, and we're going to do the ampersand, which is for background. We are going to write and quit, and we are then going to mod shift Q. We're going to log out DWM again, and we are going to do a start X again, hit enter, and now you can see instead of having the version over there, we now have the date and time thanks to SL status. Now we will work on configuring SL status on another video. I just wanted to get it up and going so that we can now get the systray set up with it. So we are going to actually do a xrandr again, and let's see here, I forgot I don't have there we are, 1920 by 1080. Let's zoom in, let's clear the screen, and now let's cd into .config again. We'll cd into suckless, maybe, if I can type tonight, which if you've watched my videos for any period of time, you know I have a very hard time typing. So now we are in the suckless directory. We're going to do an ls, and you can see we've got everything there. So now we're going to cd into DWM-6.4 and hit enter, and we're going to do an ls, and you can see we've got that DWM systray patch right here. Now I am going to go to workspace 2. I'm going to launch another terminal. I'm going to launch Firefox again. Now the reason I'm doing it this way is because I don't have a run launcher installed yet. I don't have DWM or dmenu installed. I don't have FZF installed. I don't have a run launcher installed yet. So what I'm going to go do is we'll do that a little bit down the road. So I have to launch programs from my terminal at the moment. So let's go back over here. We're going to go back to DWM, and we're going to go back to patches. Now remember when I showed you this and we clicked on the systray patch, and when we actually clicked on it and it opened up, there's a couple ways you can go about patching. You can actually take this file, open it up, and you see all these ones with the pluses next to them. Those are all lines that are going to be added. Anything with a minus next to it are lines that are going to be deleted. These up here show you what file and about what line number you're going to start on editing those files. So you can manually go through, open up these patches, go into each one of these files, and manually make all the changes yourself. That is a more, I guess, surefire way to make sure your patch is going to build correctly or to patch correctly is by going and manually inputting each line by yourself. That way you know each line got put in there. The other way to go about doing it is the quick way that can end up with errors. So all you got to do for the quick way is we're going to type patch -p1, and we're going to do the lower or less than symbol, and we're going to say DWM systray 6.4.diff. Now we're going to hit enter, and we can see that it succeeded at every single hunk of file it was trying to patch. So the config.def.h, it succeeded at hunk 2, it patched at line 105, patching file DWMC, all these different hunks of patch were added into it, or edited in this file. So it would have taken a long time to go through and manually do each one of those. And see, what I was talking about is a lot of times if you've already done 3 or 4 patches, your source file is changed just enough to where it doesn't find the lines it's looking for in the right spot, and so it fails to patch a certain hunk of the code, and then you have to go in and manually change it anyway. So we've got that done. That patch took successfully. So what we need to do now is we need to do a CP, and we're going to do config dot actually what we'll do is, watch, I'll show you. So we'll vim into config.def.h, and we'll open that up, and you can see we have systray pinning, systray on left, systray spacing. We have systray, because if we go back over to 9 here and we look at it, we can see that it's added this stuff in. Systray pinning, systray on left, systray spacing. This is all the stuff it added, and we can see in the config.def.h that it has now been added. If we quit out of there and we vim into config.h, you can see that stuff's not in there. There's no systray spacing, there's no systray anything in there yet. So actually what we need to do is we need to quit out there. We need to cp config.def.h, and then we need to copy that to config.h and hit enter. And we need to do it with the root privilege apparently. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we're going to do an ls. We are going to vim into config.h, and we're going to look, and now we can see in the config.h file that that's all been changed and those things are in there. So now that that is done, oh, read only, huh? Why is that? I should own that one, but let's this is interesting to me. So let's do an ls. Actually, let's do a control L to clear the screen. Let's do an ls-l. And yeah, we can see that I own all these files. Why it is requiring me to do that with sudo privilege, I'm not quite sure at the moment. But anyway, that's kind of a side problem. We'll address that when it becomes a nuisance. So now that we've done that and we've done the patching, we do again a sudo make clean install, and we hit enter, and it's going to go ahead and build. We can then log out again and then do start x. Now there is a way you can do a script that makes it so you don't have to log out and everything. We might address that down the road too, but for now we're just going to go about it this way. So we're going to start x again. Now it looks like nothing's changed, right? Well, let's go ahead and launch Firefox again, and that's going to launch over on workspace 9. So let's change to workspace 9. Actually, Firefox isn't what I wanted, so we're going to do a control C. We're going to zoom in is actually what we're going to do, and we need to install something that actually uses that systray. So I know for a fact FlameShot does, so let's do a sudo xbps-install, and we're going to do FlameShot and hit enter. We're going to enter our super secret password, and we're going to go ahead and install FlameShot. Now FlameShot is the screenshot tool. It's the screenshot tool I use when I'm not using Scrot. When I need something a little bit more visual, then that's what I use. But we now have FlameShot installed, and we're going to clear the screen. And if I type FlameShot, let's see, we should get the icon right up over here in the sys tray when we have something. So let's hit enter, and there we go. We have our sys tray up with icons in it, and we have our clock. So it actually shifted everything like it should, and we can see our icon in that sys tray, and everything is good. So sys tray patch took. So now let's go ahead and do another patch. So we want to be able to auto start programs from an auto start file as opposed to our xinetRC. So what we're going to do is we are going to cd into .config again, and then we are going to cd into suckless again, and cd into DWM 6.4. Now we're going to launch another terminal here, move it to workspace 2, go over to workspace 2, and we are going to go, oops, I'm on my we're going to launch another terminal here. We're going to move this one to workspace 2. We're going to go over to workspace 2 and type in Firefox, and hit enter, and then we're going to go to workspace 9. I know this is a lot of randomness to get a browser launched, and I apologize, but as we get this system set up more and more, this will be a lot more streamlined. So we need to go back to suckless.org, and we need to go back to the DWM and go back to the patches. Now what we're going to do now is we are going to do the auto start file, or the auto start. So we're going to click on that, and now look, you can see this one doesn't actually say it is for DWM 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, 3, 4, whatever else, but it does have the diffs and it has dates. So if you read this date, this is 12/5/2016 that this diff was created, and if you look down here, this one is 1/20/2021. So this is the most recent, and we want to go ahead and install that one. So if we're going to left click on that to open it up and look at it, you can see there's quite a bit of adding on to this one as well. So let's go ahead and back out of it. We're going to right click on it. We are going to save the link, excuse me, and we want it in our DWM 6.4, and we are going to hit enter and save it there. So now if we go back here and we do an ls, you can see we have the auto start diff right here. So again, we are going to do a patch-p1, the lower or the less than symbol, and DWM-auto start. We'll tab complete and we'll hit enter. Now you can see, now we're going to go through right here. You can see hunk number 3 failed at line 237. So what we need to do is we need to go back over to our browser. We need to open up that diff. We could open up the diff file from our file managers, or from our file manager as well, but I've just always found it easier to go about this way. And what we need to do is we need to look for the hunk number 5 that failed to build. So if we go back over there, and you can see hunk 3 failed at line 237. So it's going to be in the DWM.c file. So we need to open the DWM.c file. So we're going to vim DWM.c and hit enter. And I wonder if this one is, nope, okay, so we're going to vim DWM.c. We're going to go back over here, and we are going to look for the DWM.c file, and this looks like it's about line 152. This is DWM-L, DWM.c right here. So we're in DWM.c, and this is line roughly 29ish. So now we need to scroll down here. This looks like it's about line 13. So 235 here. Which line did we fail on? Let's quit out of here real quick. We failed on line 237. So we'll vim back in and we'll do a 237J. And what we can do is do a set number and hit enter, and that gives us, so this is line 237 here. Let's go back over here and see what we should be looking for. So it should be around 235. We should have a let's look for, since this line should already be there, let's look for static const char broken. So if we go back over here, we can do a slash and do static const char broken. So this is where we're trying to be right here. So we see static const char broken, and we have systray above it. Well, what are we supposed to have? We're supposed to have static const char broken, but we should have static const char auto start block sh and static const char auto start sh. So let's go ahead and copy those and go back over here, and we are going to go ahead and paste those right in here. So we'll do a Control-Shift-V and we'll paste those, and we will go ahead and write that. And so now we've changed that patch. And so now that we have that in, now we need to go back over to Workspace 9. Oops, not on my regular machine. Back over to Workspace 9, and we need to look to see if we have the static const char wmdir and local share. So let's go back to Workspace 1, and it doesn't look like we have those either. So we need to go back to Workspace 9, and we're going to go ahead and copy those two. Oops, not those three. We're going to copy those two, and they need to go in right above the static char stext 256. So we're going to copy that. We're going to go back over here and we're going to find that static char stext 256. We are going to be right there. We're going to go into insert mode, make a space, and we're going to copy that. And, wow, I don't like the way that looks. Let's undo that. Let's go back over to 9 and do a copy like this. For some reason this seems to work better. And then come back in here and do Control-Shift-V, and there we go. So now I just need to come back over here, and we need to get the plus out of there and add an S there, and then we write and quit. And that should be that, because we only had the one hunk that failed. The rest of them, even after that, succeeded. So that is the one section that failed. So now we should be able to build again and not have any errors. So again, let's do a CP of the config.def.h to config.h and hit enter. And now we should be able to do a sudo make clean install and hit enter. Enter our super secret password, and we should build with no errors now that we've got the patch completed. And if we now go back to our home directory, so we're just going to do cd and go back home, and we're going to make a directory called .dwm, and in that we are going to vim and make a file called autostart.sh. And in that autostart.sh, now we are going to go into insert mode, and now here we are going to do a shebang. So we are going to do a shebang and do /bin/bash, and then we're going to go down and we're going to actually add SL status here, and then we're going to write and quit. We're going to ch mode, and we're going to do +x in our autostart.sh. Oh, I actually didn't cd it, so we'll just ch mode that. Now I need to move autostart.sh into home.dwm and hit enter. And now if I cd into .dwm and do an ls, now we have the autostart.sh in our .dwm file or directory. And now if I go back to home and I vim into .xinitrc and hit enter, and we clear this line with the SL status out of it, and we write and quit, we should be able to quit out of DWM now and have the SL status auto start because we have our auto start file. So let's go ahead and quit out of there. Let's do a start X and hit enter, and there we go. It's no longer in our .xinitrc, but we still fire it up because we now have the auto start patch, so we can auto start programs. So your wallpapers, any type of script you want to auto start at launch, any of that stuff you can put into your auto start and actually have it start up there. So once we've got that done, we are now set up and good to go with a couple patches. You know how to actually get patches downloaded and installed manually, or doing it automatically with the patch command. And so now you can start working on doing patches on your own. What I'd like, if you guys would go ahead and leave me some comments to let me know what types of patches you would like to install on DWM to get our system configured the way we want it. You go ahead and let me know in the comments what you'd like to use, and we will pick a few of the patches and kind of get this set up. I don't use too many patches usually when I use DWM. I like to keep it minimal and use just a few things like the scratch pads and the things that I know that I'm going to use on my system. I don't like to get real patch heavy. So we're going to keep it kind of light, but if there's certain things you guys want to see, just let me know in the comments and we'll make sure we get those in there. So yeah, that's I think a good stopping point for today. So if you guys would like to continue on, I will put out another video here in the next couple days, and we will do a little bit more patching, get some wallpaper set up, and maybe get a menu set up. So that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and just stay safe. God bless.